This is the story of a man who inherited a kingdom, but not in the way you might expect. We're not talking about fairy tale castles or dragon-guarded treasures. No, we're talking about the real-world luxury of Sultan Haitham bin Tariq, the ruler of Oman. But hold on to your magic carpets, folks, because this sultan's lifestyle might just surprise you. You see, when most of us think of Arabian royalty, we picture gold-plated everything and oil wells in the backyard, but Sultan Haitham, he's cut from a different cloth. A cloth that's probably still pretty expensive, but hey, he's still a sultan. He took the throne in January 2020, following the death of his cousin, Sultan Qaboos. Now, Qaboos was known for modernizing Oman and turning it into the prosperous nation it is today. So Haitham had some pretty big shoes to fill, but instead of trying to outdo his predecessor in the luxury department, he decided to take a different approach. Let's start with his crib, or should I say palace. The Al Alam Palace in Muscat is where Sultan Haitham calls home. Now don't get me wrong, this place is still fit for a king, or a sultan in this case, but it's not the over-the-top golden monstrosity you might expect. A beautiful blend of contemporary and traditional Islamic architecture. The palace stands out with its vibrant blue and gold facade, but it's not trying to blind you with bling. It's more like a sophisticated nod to Oman's rich cultural heritage. And get this, the palace grounds are actually open to the public. Well, part of them anyway. You can stroll right up to the gates and snap some pics. Try doing that at Buckingham Palace without getting tackled by a guard in a funny hat. But here's where it gets interesting. While the palace is undoubtedly luxurious, with its marble surfaces and meticulously manicured gardens, Sultan Haitham doesn't spend all his time there. In fact, he's known for being a bit of a homebody, preferring to spend time with his family in more modest settings. I know, modest is relative when we're talking about royalty. But stick with me here. Now, let's talk about his wheels, or should I say his wings, because when Sultan Haitham needs to jet off to important meetings or state visits, he's got some serious air power at his disposal. The royal fleet includes two Boeing 747s painted in the red and green of the Omani flag. These aren't your average commercial jets, folks. We're talking double bedrooms, lounges, and even an executive suite on the upper deck. But here's the kicker. Sultan Haitham doesn't always use these flying palaces. In fact, he's been known to fly commercial. Can you imagine booking your economy seat to Dubai and finding out the guy in 23B is the Sultan of Oman? Talk about an upgrade to your in-flight entertainment. Speaking of entertainment, let's talk about how Sultan Haitham likes to unwind. Now, I know what you're thinking. Probably gold-plated jet skis and diamond-encrusted golf clubs, right? Well, not quite. Our man Haitham is actually a bit of a sports nut, but in a surprisingly down-to-earth way. Before he became Sultan, Haitham was the head of the Oman Football Association. And he wasn't just a figurehead. Under his leadership, Oman's under-17 team actually won a world championship in 1995. So when he wants to relax, you're more likely to find him catching a local football match than lounging on a solid gold throne. Sultan Haitham knows luxury, owning two of the world's largest yachts. The Al Said, at 508 feet, is a floating palace accommodating 70 guests with a 174-person crew. It boasts 6 decks and a concert room for a 50-piece orchestra. Surprisingly, it's often used as a floating museum showcasing Omani culture rather than for lavish parties. As for his wardrobe, Sultan Haitham eschews extravagance for simplicity. He typically wears traditional Omani dress, a dishdasha, long robe, and musar, wrapped turban. This preference for understated elegance extends to his yacht usage, demonstrating a unique blend of luxury and cultural promotion in his lifestyle choices. But don't let the simplicity fool you. These outfits are still made from the finest materials and are impeccably tailored. It's just that Sultan Haitham seems to prefer elegance over extravagance. It's like he's saying, I'm a sultan, but I'm not trying to blind you with my bling. Now, let's talk about food. Surely a sultan must dine on nothing but the rarest delicacies prepared by an army of world-renowned chefs, right? Well, while I'm sure Sultan Haitham has access to pretty much any cuisine he desires, he's actually known to have pretty simple tastes. Traditional Omani dishes like shua, slow-cooked lamb, and mishkak, spiced meat skewers, are said to be among his favorites. But here's where it gets interesting. Sultan Haitham is also known for his interest in sustainable agriculture. He's been a big supporter of initiatives to increase Oman's food security and reduce its reliance on imports. So, while he could probably have caviar for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if he wanted, he's more focused on making sure all Omanis have access to good, nutritious food. Now, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great, but where's the scandal, the drama, the juicy gossip? Well, folks, I hate to disappoint you, but Sultan Haitham is pretty drama-free. He's been married to his wife, Ahad bint Abdullah bin Hamad al Busaidia, since 1989, and they have 4 children together. No tabloid-worthy scandals here, just a seemingly happy family. But don't mistake his lack of drama for lack of influence. Sultan Haitham is still, well, a sultan. He's the head of state, the head of government, and the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He's got some serious power, but the way he wields it is interesting. You see, Sultan Haitham is known for his diplomatic approach. He's been working hard to maintain Oman's neutrality in regional conflicts, positioning the country as a mediator. It's like he's the cool-headed friend in a group chat full of drama. And let me tell you, in a region as volatile as the Middle East, that's no small feat. But wait, there's more. I've always wanted to say that. Let's talk about Sultan Haitham's hobbies. Now, you might expect a sultan to spend his free time racing exotic cars or hunting endangered species, but our man Haitham, he's more likely to be found with his nose in a book. That's right, the Sultan is known to be quite the intellectual. He's fluent in English and has a degree in diplomacy from Oxford University. He's also a big supporter of education and has been pushing for reforms to improve Oman's education system. It's like he's saying, sure, I could build a solid gold library, but I'd rather make sure everyone can read. Now, I know we've been focusing a lot on how Sultan Haitham isn't your typical flashy royal, but let's be real for a second. He's still incredibly wealthy. His net worth is estimated to be around $1 billion. That's billion with a B, folks. So while he might not flaunt it like some of his royal peers, he's definitely not hurting for cash. Sultan Haitham views wealth as a responsibility, focusing on philanthropy in education and healthcare. His Vision 2040 aims to diversify Oman's economy and create a knowledge-based society, showing foresight rare among leaders. Despite his status, he shuns extravagant parties for privacy, yet remains approachable and promotes transparency. Haitham's approach balances tradition with progress, luxury with responsibility. He redefines royal lifestyle, demonstrating that true luxury lies not in possessions, but in using resources to make a positive impact on society. So, what do you think? Is this the kind of royal lifestyle you'd want to live? Or do you prefer your sultans with a bit more bling? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more glimpses into the lives of the rich and royal.